Good morning, everybody, and happy Friday. Me and Bruce vibing a little bit to the intro music,
Dude, it's a
popping
bop, dude.
in. I was thinking the same thing. There was like 10 seconds left. I'm sitting here like, you know, come to think of it, this is a good vibe to lead into the show. Welcome back, everybody, to this Friday edition of the regular fan show by the fans for the fans. Vinny Fredericks, my guy Bruce Juno. Apologies, no show yesterday. We're both busy guys. We have things going on. Couldn't hit our quota this week, but
Yeah. Well, I mean,
we always try to get
I
3 weeks.
had a
But
game
life
I had to
happens.
cover at 11 a.m.
I
I
know,
don't know why, but it
crazy
was
stuff.
crazy. It was crazy. It was
Crazy
crazy
having a
'cause
job.
yeah, I know. Imagine not just quitting and going full-time podcast from the
I
get-go.
know, I know. Hey, if anybody wants to donate, we could set something up. Maybe link a little
Yeah.
GoFundMe to our channel. Use that. Take some donations. Maybe we can turn this into a full time thing. But
We'll see
good
what
morning,
happens. We'll see
everybody.
what
Thank you for tuning in to this Friday edition of the Regular Fan Show. We're talking a lot of football, previewing the College Football National Championship, which is this Monday, and of course the divisional round. A lot of great matchups coming up this weekend. Some breaking news later on in the hour. But without further ado, Bruce, good morning, my guy. How are you?
Morning, dude. How we doing? It's a nice
We're
Friday,
doing.
beautiful
We're both
day.
waking up a little bit, but
Yeah, yeah. It's
we're doing.
yesterday was a long day of working the real job, but here we are. We're here. We're back with the squad,
Yeah,
aka Vinny Fredericks,
yes,
and
sir.
we're ready to cook and talk about sports and stuff we love and we know about, and we're fans, and we're
Of
talking to
course.
fans. We're loving
But
the
we're not
fans,
athletes.
and
We're only fans. We're not athletes.
in case anyone forgot,
Yeah.
it's still there.
Put that quote on my gravestone when I die. For all the years of torment that Jerry Jones put me and the other Cowboy fans through. Jerry Jones is a freaking idiot. And maybe we'll dive into that too a little bit. We started off Tuesday's show with Bruce getting me all, amped up about the Dallas Cowboys and Mike McCarthy and Deion Sanders. And I guess before we preview the games, also shout out Dwayne Wade. Happy birthday to my GOAT. Had to rep the D Wade Marquette jersey that
Marquette.
is actually an adult small, so it doesn't really fit me, but I thrifted it down on Long Island visiting Tori. So I kind of, I saw it. I was like, I don't care what size this is. I'm buying it. So shout
Yeah,
out D
I don't
Wade.
blame you.
Happy birthday to the GOAT. And
And Marquette's good this season.
yeah,
I mean, they're good most seasons, but
yeah, of course, of course.
they're,
But I mean,
they're they're really good this season.
I guess before we, preview the football for this weekend, we could talk a little bit Deion Sanders and the Cowboys because we talked on Tuesday about it, and I told you I don't see it happening. Vin Lee, we're not talking about Roki Sasaki and the Dodgers. He isn't signed there yet. We're not talking any baseball until something actually happens. So pipe down with the Roki and the Dodgers talk. All right, I don't want to hear it. But Bruce, we talked on Tuesday about Deion Sanders possibly being the new head coach for the Dallas Cowboys. I told you I didn't think it was going to happen. I was, for months that this has been a rumor. I haven't really seen it. I don't see Deion moving to the NFL unless he's going to coach one of his sons. And Shador Sanders is clearly not going to the Dallas Cowboys at, I think, number 12 they pick. He's not falling that far. So I don't see it happening this year. And Deion just was able to recruit a five-star quarterback, number
Yeah,
one or number two quarterback in his class to play at Boulder, Colorado. So why is he going to leave that situation and go to the NFL where Shiloh is still in school too, so he could still coach one of his sons at Colorado. So why would he decide to take the NFL job and go coach the Dallas Cowboys? I have no idea. But apparently, a lot of people see that there's actually some traction between Deion and the Dallas Cowboys to be their new head coach.
yeah. And I mean, like it was definitely a big thing circulating this week. After we brought it up, it kind of started catching traction. I'm gonna say because of us. But
Yeah, it's
like
all on us.
yesterday, Dan Orlovsky, he hammered hard on it. I forget what show it was on, but he
Probably
he
Get
went
Up, Undisputed,
yeah, he went on a,
Unsportsmanlike.
a rant about how Dion would affect Dak if he went to
Hmm.
Cowboys, and Stephen A. He said he kind of broke that Kellen Moore. Well, I mean, it was broke anyway, but Kellen Moore wasn't going to the Cowboys.
That's broken. I know they were interviewing Kellen Moore, but he's officially out.
I don't know if he's officially out. I know Stephen A. For lack of a better,
Stephen A. I don't trust a word that Stephen A. says.
I was going to say, for lack of a better
Especially
term,
on
he said
first
that Kellen
take.
Moore is not the man for the job.
Well, that I honestly believe. I don't know if Kellen Moore is an actual head coach, to be honest.
I
He's done a
agree.
fine job as OC, but when he was the offensive coordinator of the Cowboys, I wasn't too impressed with his work. And sure, the Eagles have looked very good this season, but they also have Saquon Barkley in the backfield, Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore already said that. Devontae Smith, AJ Brown.
Kellen Moore stepping out on the
Yeah,
field.
I told you, we're still waking up over here. But I mean, Kellen Moore makes sense as far as he's a guy who has been in the building, been with the Cowboys organization. He was Dak's backup quarterback. He was his quarterback coach. He was his offensive coordinator. He knows the Cowboys inside and out. And that's one of the reasons why I think he would be a good potential candidate. That doesn't mean I think he's going to be a good head coach. I still don't see him being able to. I mean, sure, we see a lot of these younger offensive minded head coaches seeing some success in the NFL this year, but I just don't see Kellen Moore being one of them unless you bring in a much better defensive coordinator. Mike Zimmer is good, but he didn't really get the job done at all this season on defense. And granted, there were some injuries, but either way, I think you have a better shot with Dion at head coach, and that's crazy because the guy has no NFL coaching experience. So if they decide to sign Deion Sanders and actually entertain the idea of him being the head coach, that just tells me how unserious of an organization Jerry Jones is running over there.
Yeah, and you gotta like think about the fact that college football is so different to the NFL, and the fact that in college players can just move. They can
Mhm.
there's no it's not like in the NFL with contracts, and then you know not everyone can just go where they want, and with the
Yeah, there's
transfer
no
portal.
transfer window or
Yeah.
transfer portal
So
in the
when
NFL.
came into Colorado, came into Boulder, and he had literally 82 players, just a whole new squad, come play for the Buffs, and he's just kind of turned that program around. Yeah, he's seen success now that he's turned the program around, but it's because when you're growing up, one of the names Deion Sanders. When you play football, it's like everyone knows Deion
Mhm.
Sanders. So like all these college kids are like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna go play for Coach Prime, and in the
exactly.
NFL, you can't just have you can't go to the Cowboys and then just be like, okay, now we're gonna get, Saquon or Derrick Henry. Now we're gonna get Lamar or Josh Allen. Now
Yeah,
we're gonna
that's
get, you
not
know what
gonna
I mean?
happen. Jerry Jones doesn't do that. He doesn't spend money to actually improve the team. Come on. I
So
can't remember the
it's
last time they had an actual free agent signing.
yeah, it's not like
It was
it's
Stephon Gilmore years ago. That's the last one I can think of.
big up Gilmore, former Pat baby.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of Pats, Vin Lee says Jerry Jones and Pat Riley are brothers. I, d- I don't know what you I don't know what you want me to say. All right, yeah, both of them are running my teams into the ground. At least Pat Riley, I can say, has had some winning success. Jerry Jones hasn't won, excuse my language, he hasn't won jack shit. All right, Jerry Jones, they could have won so many more Super Bowls if they never let go of Jimmy Johnson and if they never ruined that relationship. I mean, Jimmy Johnson would have led them to at least another one or two Super Bowl championships, and who knows how long he could have been there. He could have been, a Bill Belichick esque who coaches a team for 20 plus years. But Jerry Jones drove him out of town, and they haven't seen that same kind of success ever since then. So, I mean, Pat Riley at least has had some success leading the Miami Heat to some championships as a coach, as a front office executive. Jerry Jones just hasn't done anything. So
Yeah,
I mean,
and
Pat
hey,
Riley might be right now a little washed, but not as washed as Jerry Jones.
speaking of Jimmy Johnson, just a little quick note, on NASCAR, because Jimmy Johnson's a NASCAR driver. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is coming back, and he's racing in the
He's coming
Daytona
back?
500. He's
No
racing in the
way.
Daytona
Did
500.
this
He
like
partnered
did it
up.
just break?
It was yesterday. It broke. Yesterday at 4 o'clock, he broke. He's
Wow.
teaming up with Chris Stapleton, and Junior Motorsports is putting Dale Jr. in a car for the Daytona 500
Look at that. All right. Now we're
at
talking,
50
Steve.
years old.
Jeez. I mean, it's no joke driving one of those, NASCARs around. I mean, you watch the videos of them, the training they have to go through to withstand the G-force of driving that thing 200 miles an
Or
hour.
no, he's sorry. He's I worded that wrong. He's not entering himself. He's entering. Wait, I'm trying to remember exactly how he's entering Junior Motorsports into the Daytona 500
Okay.
with Chris Stapleton, and he's entering Justin Allgaier into the Daytona 500.
Gotcha.
It's with Chris Stapleton
So
and
Dale
then
Jr. isn't actually
Whiskey Country.
driving.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Okay. I was gonna say at 50 years old, trying to turn that wheel, I feel like that's gotta
Yeah,
be way too difficult at that age.
I saw it yesterday. Now I'm looking at it again. I think when I saw it yesterday, when I saw Dale Jr. Daytona 500, I was like, "Yes, he's coming
Oh yeah, of
back. He's
course.
racing."
Of
No,
course, your
he's
immediate instinct is gonna be, oh my God.
yeah. I just double checked. It's just entering. Junior Motorsports is entering. He teamed up with Chris Stapleton to field the inaugural entry for Junior Motorsports in the Daytona 500 in partnership with Buffalo
Right.
Trace Distillery
Hmm.
in a Traveler Whiskey Chevrolet that will be raced by Justin Allgaier, the Xfinity Series champion.
All right. There you go.
There you
Dale
go,
Jr.
Dale Jr. Baby.
Dale Jr. getting back into the racing world. Gotta love it. Obviously, historic family, historic racers in Dale Jr. and his father. Great stuff. Great stuff. Love it,
Yeah,
Bruce. We love
I
breaking
used to
news.
watch NASCAR all the time.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. I
we
was a Cars kid growing up. Lightning McQueen, my obvious goat. Can't forget the legend Doc Hudson.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, I know it's still a little bit of a different topic.
Yeah,
But
of course.
yeah,
Hey, that's what makes us so great, our diverse expertise when it comes to different sports around the world. Obviously, we always talk about, you're our main soccer guy, and I NASCAR too, I guess.
yeah, dude. I mean, I watched
NASCAR expert.
NASCAR all the way up until Junior retired, and then I stopped. But
All right.
Junior was my guy. Junior was my go-to
All
guy.
right, so when the Indy 500 is going on, you already know we'll be breaking it down. Well, Bruce will be breaking it down. I'll be sitting here reacting to it like the rest of you.
Daytona 500, the
Day-
Daytona
Daytona
500.
500. Yes, thank you.
Maybe we
See,
just have to
I don't know.
go. Maybe we have to go. We have to get you involved. We have to pull it through.
Yeah, we'll do a show live from the Daytona. And welcome to the regular fan. Oh,
Good
that'd be
time. Good
something.
time.
All right. We can get to the football now. We'll start with college as, of course, the big game coming up Monday. I want to say 7:30. This game is supposed to kick off 7:38 down in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, 7:30. I'm pretty
Let me
sure.
7:30. All right. Yeah, let me
Yeah.
just make sure I'm not. Yep, 7:30 ESPN, Ohio State and Notre Dame. This is going to be a good one, Bruce. Before we just jump right into it, where are you leaning here? Notre Dame, OSU? Who's getting the job done?
I can't.
You can't.
I can't pick Ohio State. I think Notre Dame is going to prove to all the people for the past 10 years, 15 years, 20 years that they deserve to be here in the 4 team, and they now deserve to be here because they are here. And I don't care if the spread is -8 right now. Notre Dame is going to
What
take
it's
down the
at?
Buckeyes, and bro, their defense goes crazy. Notre Dame's defense is insane. Will Howard, still not high on Will Howard. Notre Dame's defense is insane. Riley Leonard's coming into his element. Yeah, he can't really have a slow start like he has past couple games. Can't really have a slow start against OSU. But I don't know, man. I think Notre Dame,
So you're higher on Riley Leonard than you are on Will Howard.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, did not expect that. All right. See, I'm gonna have to disagree with you there. I think this Ohio State offense, for one, we saw what it was able to pull off against Texas, who arguably had the best defense in the entire college football playoff over the last
What?
few weeks. So the fact that they were able to put up, well, 21, I guess 7 of those come from the scoop and score from Jack Sawyer and the big touchdown at the end of the first half. I think Ohio State's I think they got more experience too. Ryan Day's been doing this for years. Marcus Freeman has done a phenomenal job with this Notre Dame group and getting them to the national championship, but I don't think they have the experience like Ryan Day does. He's been in the playoff before, hasn't won it obviously, but he's been here before. And I mean, you talk about Notre Dame's defense. If you're going to talk Notre Dame's defense, you have to at least show some love to Ohio State's defense as well. They got the fastest crew on defense. Like I said, fastest defense in all of college football. And we saw what they were able to do against Texas and Oregon and Tennessee. All of these games, not, I mean, Texas was the closest out of the bunch, but the fact that, if they play anywhere close to they played like they did against Tennessee and Oregon, you're not going to see a very close game. And listen, Notre Dame has had a great year. They've had a great path to the championship, but you look at the teams they played, I don't know if I could say that they played a team better than Texas or Oregon.
I mean,
Let's
maybe not, but at the same, they played one of the best defenses in the country in Penn State. They played
yeah.
Georgia, who's always a power program, and they played Indiana, who has
Oh yeah, we know
Cignetti.
Indiana's. Yeah,
Cignetti is just he wins, and he didn't win
he
against Notre
wins.
Dame.
He wins.
Bro,
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
mean
saying, dude.
Georgia's certainly up there. They did beat Texas in the SEC championship, but I mean that Georgia team with Gunnar Stockton at quarterback, it's not the same Georgia team
I
that
mean,
they would have rolled out
obviously,
if
it's not
Carson
the
Beck was
same, but
healthy. I don't know. I
I
mean, you look
don't.
at the path and the teams that Ohio State had to play, two SEC schools, the number one school in the nation, and they made all of them look silly. I'm taking Ohio State in this one. I wouldn't be surprised to see Notre Dame cover. An 8-point spread is pretty wild for the national championship, but I don't see a way in which Notre Dame wins this game. And honestly, now that I say that, that's the same thing I said about the Texans beating the Chargers last week when we were talking wild card round. So maybe I'm the bad luck here. Maybe I'm the jinx,
I mean,
and I
I
shouldn't
also
be
said that
saying
the
this.
Chargers would beat the Texans, but at the same time, I don't know, man. Hold on, I gotta show you something.
All right. What on earth could Bruce possibly be pulling out here? I don't even want to know. My money's on Notre
Yeah, what are your
Dame
thoughts?
football helmet.
No, well, I mean, I'm pretty sure I brought this up before, but
Hmm. What? So, it is the helmet. Yup, the Notre
we're
Dame
riding
mini
with the
helmet.
Irish, baby. We're riding with the Irish. We're riding with Benjamin Morrison, even though he's hurt.
That's I thought it was signed. All right, there it
Yeah.
is.
Now I gotta
All
put
right,
this
so yeah,
on.
understandable. You're riding with the Irish. I get it. I'm not in that camp. I mean, you look at this Ohio State offense, and the fact that they were able to put up 21 with Jeremiah Smith only getting one catch for 3 yards. They have other guys they can lean on in that offense. Egbuka had a
Dude,
solid game. Carnell Tate
Ibuka's
was their
been a
leading
stud
receiver.
for years. Ibuka's been a stud for years.
Exactly. Now they got another stud paired up with him, and Travion
Yeah,
Henderson in the backfield, and Judkins. This offense is just stacked, man. I don't know if Notre Dame's defense can handle. And Notre Dame's coming into this game beat up. I mean, I haven't
they are beat
paid too
up. I'm
much
not gonna lie.
attention to, obviously the defense has its own, slew of injuries, and that's concerning. I'm not sure what the status is of their two offensive linemen that got hurt last week against Penn State, if they're going to be able to suit up in the national championship. So Notre Dame's got the injury issues. They've got less experience, I think, in the playoff than Ohio State does. And I think I got to disagree with you on Riley Leonard and Will Howard. I think Will Howard's the better quarterback here. So every indication for me points to Ohio State. I've been high on them since the playoffs started. I had a feeling they were going to be a Cinderella team, if you will, especially after getting ranked so low after losing to Michigan. I've been pulling Ohio State the whole way, and I don't see why that stops now.
I think Riley Leonard's resume is better than Will Howard's resume, just in general in college. Riley Leonard coming from Duke,
Yeah,
Will
but
Howard coming from Kansas State. Will Howard didn't show me anything at Kansas State. I don't care what people say. Yeah, his last season there was good. Riley Leonard was at Duke.
yeah, but does
Duke.
resume really matter that much? I'm talking what have they done this season?
Yeah, but you're coming
And
into it. I think this game is going to come down to heart. I think that Notre Dame, through all the controversy, not controversy, but everything that they
showed
faced
resiliency.
in years, it's all these years built up to this moment. Can Notre Dame prove everybody wrong versus a guy who almost got fired?
Yeah, good point. Right, Ryan Day
The
was on the hot
storyline.
seat. Right, Ryan Day was certainly on the hot seat a little bit for Ohio State, but I don't know, man. It's not about resume; it's about what they did this year. And if you were to ask me who the better quarterback is this year, who I'm more confident in being able to go out there and make a big throw in a big moment in this big game, I'm siding with Will Howard because Riley Leonard, he did have some, good throws in that Penn State game, especially the 175-yard touchdown, but that was more defender falls down, hits wide open receiver, receiver takes it the rest of the way. Riley Leonard I haven't seen make that tough, tight window throw, goal line situation. I feel like the pressure gets to him, and we saw he didn't look all that loose when he was playing against Penn State. So if he has a similar outing like he did against Penn State, Notre Dame's going to fall in a hole very early, and against Ohio State, that's going to be very difficult to come back from.
I mean, hey, I get it. I'll put Riley Leonard and Will Howard kind of in the same kind of comparison. I
Yeah,
definitely
same
think
tier.
Ohio State has the better weapons. I just think defensively, I think Notre Dame, despite being beat to bits, their depth is crazy. I think their defense has proved to want it more. And I know people are always like, "Oh, if you want it more, even if you suck, it doesn't really matter." Yada yada. Bro, they're both in the Natty. They both deserve to be here. And I think for the storyline, for who's gonna just proof of decades of hatred towards not putting them in the 14 playoff, I think Notre Dame is gonna prove something on Monday.
All right, well, we'll have more reaction to this national championship Tuesday morning when we go live next week, and we'll see which one of us ends up being correct. Bruce going all in on Notre Dame. I'm rocking with the Buckeyes, and it should be a good one Monday night at 7:30. I'm excited for this national
That
championship.
spread is crazy. That's a crazy spread for a national championship.
Yeah. 8 points is a pretty wide spread. One of the wider spreads of this college football playoffs in general, but
started at 9.5.
Yeah. So it's going down. They're giving Notre Dame their props, but yeah, should be a good one this Monday night in college football. Moving on to the NFL here, divisional round, 4 games to pick, Bruce, and we start off with the team that always religiously plays Saturday at 4:30 in the playoffs for whatever reason, the Houston Texans, traveling to Arrowhead to take on the Kansas City Chiefs, who, now this is crazy, their 2 losses this season both came at 4:30 time slots. I'm just saying.
Hey, man, I think the way that the Texans played, they're going to give the Chiefs a run. Yes, Chiefs defense is crazy. Yes, offense, Patrick Mahomes, blah, blah, blah. Everything we've heard for the past 5 years, what feels like since I was born at this point. Patrick Mahomes is the greatest things since sliced bread and yada, yada. Don't care. I think this game is going to be close. I think if Houston comes out and plays the way that they played against the Chargers, I think the Chiefs aren't really going to expect it, especially because of the way how the Texans ended their season, kind of looking like duds. It seems CJ's out of his sophomore slump. Playoffs is a whole different beast. Chiefs have proved they can win in the playoffs no matter what the past 2 seasons, obviously. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's hard to pick against the Chiefs. It is. Everyone knows it is. They went 15-2 this season, with no
With those losses
weapons.
at 4:30 though,
Yeah, I mean, hey,
and they play at 4:30 on Saturday.
I mean,
Just saying.
I'll see your thoughts on it first, but I might be that guy.
Ooh, Bruce might be that guy. Well, I'll say this. Houston cannot start the game like they did last week against the Chargers and expect to have that same opportunity to come back against the Chiefs. All right. They're not going to hold the Chiefs to field goals on back-to-back drives all the way down the field. They're not going to have the opportunity to be go from 6-0 and then all of a sudden lead at the half 10-6. The Chiefs aren't going to give them that opportunity. They're getting into the end zone whether the Texans like it or not. So if Houston has any chance in this game, they got to start way better than they did against LA. Otherwise, they're going to find themselves in a quick 10-0, 14-0 hole, and you can't afford to do that against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. If you want to beat Kansas City, you have to start fast and you have to start strong. You got to get a lead on them early and make them be the ones that have to pull off some miraculous comeback. But even then, we've seen year in and year out that Kansas City finds ways to win games, even in those situations, especially in the playoffs. So it's hard to bet against Kansas City. You're right, Bruce. But even if I had a feeling that the Texans had a chance in this one, I don't really see it happening unless they get off to one of the hottest starts they've had all season, and that's a pretty big thing that they would need to go out and succeed at if they want any chance in this game. So I'm taking the Chiefs to win this one pretty easily.
I feel like if yeah, it's obviously gonna be hard to bet against the Chiefs, pick against the Chiefs because, like we
Patrick
both
Mahomes.
said, they're the Chiefs. They're Patrick
Yeah,
Mahomes, you know.
they're looking to
Um,
three-peat for a reason.
yeah, but I feel like if the Texans limit their turnovers, because they had 3 last game,
Hmm.
and like you said, if they get a first quarter and I feel like give it to Mixon a little more, set up the pass. Mixon had over 100 yards rushing, but at the same time, most of it came in the second half, I'm pretty sure. So it's like
Yeah, it was
set up,
mostly fourth quarter even.
yeah. So set up the pass. He's looking at other guys now too. Nico Collins obviously is the go-to guy, whatever.
Yeah, of
But
course.
John Mechie stepped up. You have Dalton Schultz.
Hmm. They do
There's
have other
always other
guys.
guys. I mean, Cade Stover had 4 receptions. Like like
Who?
he's spreading the ball. Hey man, Cade Stover, come on, haven't heard of him? Um,
Yeah, that's your boy.
yeah, 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 yeah. Him and I go way back. But I don't know, dude. Am I just gonna be? I'm feeling like I'm in that mood today.
You're in an upset mood. I get
I
it.
feel like I'm in that
I
mood
mean,
today.
hey, first you're picking Notre Dame. Now you're going Houston. Are you going underdogs all day, Bruce?
I think yeah, I think I'm riding with the Texans. I think CJ Stroud is
Ooh,
gonna
wow.
bring the Texans to the promised land for one game at least. Um,
Maybe one day.
yeah,
I don't know if this is the year for them.
I'm thinking a CJ 300 plus yard game, Nico over 150, like Mixon over 150. Like I think they're just about to cook, dude. I think they're about to cook. I think over, dude. He's gonna have like 50 receiving yards.
Oh man, this Chiefs
John
defense is
Metchie,
no joke either. You got to remember the Chiefs do
I
have a
know,
solid defense.
I know, and I feel like that's the only reason they've been good this season is their defense. I mean, I say the only
Yeah.
reason. They
Well,
have
yeah,
Patrick Mahomes.
Mahomes
Blah, blah, blah.
statistically has not been very good this year. His
That's
interceptions
what I'm
have been
saying.
up. Every other stat has been down. But the thing with Mahomes is that once you see him in the playoffs, it's a completely different story. As Vinny Lou does make a good point, Mixon does have experience beating the Chiefs in the playoffs with the Cincinnati Bengals. So
Yeah,
maybe he knows exactly what it takes to beat this Kansas City team. But we'll see. I'm still sticking with the Chiefs. I don't really expect this one to be too close. As I throw my phone off the table here, I'll let you take this one, Bruce. What's the spread looking like for this Chiefs
it's
Texans game?
the same as the national.
-8.
Yep.
All right, there you go. As I grab this, which just threw itself off of my little makeshift desk here. All right, we'll move on here. Bruce, sticking with the underdogs. I like it. Next Saturday night game, Washington Commanders travel to Detroit, take on the Lions and Jared Goff and Dan Campbell. Bruce, let me guess, you're taking the Commanders to get the
No,
upset
I'm
in this
not
one.
taking the Commanders in this one at
No,
all.
not this time.
I said in our first ever podcast, I said Lions. I think Lions are winning the Super Bowl, and I'm gonna
You
ride
did.
with that.
You did say
I'm
that.
gonna ride with that. I'm gonna ride with MCDC.
Sorry, I'm getting distracted
I'm gonna
over here.
ride with I'm gonna ride with Jared Goff,
Wow.
Amon Ra,
I think
Jameer.
this little one is gonna have to agree with you.
Yeah, I think I love Jaden Daniels. They just don't. I know their run game is based through Jaden Daniels, but I feel like you need to just be scoring. Like if you're
Mhm.
playing the Lions, you just need to be
Let's see the
scoring.
spread. The
I
spread in
don't.
this one is sitting at 9.5 point favorites for the Lions.
And honestly, like as much as I think the Commanders can hang in this game, I think like I might even look to lean towards Lions minus 9.5 just because of the fact that Lions just score. Like it doesn't
Yeah,
matter. They will keep
they do.
scoring on pretty
Number
much
one scoring
every drive.
offense in the NFL.
Yeah. And I mean the Commanders are a good team, but at the same time, they're not going to be scoring on every drive. You know, they have Terry McLaurin, but like from there, where do you go? Like
Hmm. Yeah,
Almida Zaccheaus, like Zach Ertz, like I think he's done a great job. Massive props, Jade Daniels on getting this far, but I don't think that they're going to be able to take down the Lions.
yeah. I think they need a standout wide receiver one. Terry McLaurin, excuse me, is a great veteran piece to have in the wide receiver room. He's a great veteran wide receiver. He's not gonna get you to the promised land as your wide receiver one. He'll serve a role. He'll be a good locker room standout, but as far as being your wide receiver one, he has too many drops. He's getting up there in age. He doesn't have the same burst and speed that he used to. Still a solid wide receiver. Not knocking the guy, but he can't be your wide receiver one if you want to go into Detroit and take down the number one team in the NFC. And a couple of rankings here that I found interesting while I was looking into this game before. Commanders defense, 30th in rush. So they have the worst rush defense in the league. The Lions offense, 6th in rushing attack. And granted, that's their worst on offense. They're second overall, second in passing, first in scoring. But even their worst offensive, um, you know, ability, if you will, the running game is still top 6 in the league. And don't forget, they get David Montgomery back for the
Yep,
first time in over a
they
month.
have Sonic
So
and Knuckles.
I was about to say, they officially have Sonic and Knuckles back for the first time in over a month. So that's going to be a big difference maker, having him in the backfield alongside Jahmyr Gibbs. The Lions defense, though, 30th in passing defense. Commanders offense, 17th in passing. So will this Commanders passing game be able to take advantage of the Lions passing defense? We will have to wait and see. But the Commanders, like we were already talking about with Terry McLaurin, they don't have too many weapons on the outside. But if they can get what is it? De'Ami Brown was the one that went off last week against the Buccaneers. If they can have him have another big game, this offense certainly could get some things rolling. But the Commanders, yeah, they lean on the running game. They're third overall in the NFL in rushing offense. The Lions defense, 5th overall in rushing defense. So it seems like there's a lot of matchups here in this game that are on paper look really good. The difference maker is going to be, can the Commanders offense find ways to move the ball downfield without having to rely on the running game? Because that the Lions are going to be ready to stop the run.
Yeah.
So
And I
can
mean
Jaden Daniels get it down the field?
Brian Robinson just hasn't been good this
Yeah, and
season.
Austin
Austin
Eckler,
Eckler, like he was
solid
just
pieces, but
I mean, Eckler was thrown into a whack spot. It's like he comes from being a kind of a stud with the Chargers,
yeah,
and then he gets thrown into potentially being the running back 2 behind Brian Robinson, who hasn't looked great
yeah.
in
Well,
the
Eckler did not look
NFL.
great last year either. Eckler was certainly not a running back one
Yeah,
last year.
yeah,
As
yeah.
someone
I
who
mean,
drafted Austin Eckler in the first round in fantasy, I know Austin Eckler was terrible last year.
I know, but I don't know. It's their running game needs work.
Yeah, yeah, it does. And and still, despite that, the fact that those are the two guys in their backfield, they still lean on the running game enough to have the number 3 overall rushing offense in the NFL. So even though, they don't have the most talented guys back there, Jaden Daniels' ability to move with his legs certainly is an extra, little nod to the rushing offense. But this Commanders team, yeah, I don't necessarily see them being able to go into Detroit and defeat the Lions either. I mean, Dan Quinn, he's a great head coach, but he's shown in years, past that he in the playoffs starts to, waver a little bit. I mean, last year when he was the defensive coordinator in Dallas, I think they let up like 27 first half points to the Green Bay offense. So his defense didn't look good in the playoffs last year. We all know what happened when the Falcons went to the Super Bowl against the Patriots while Dan Quinn was head coach. Bruce, I know you obviously remember that game. I do as well, very
I don't
well.
know. You
So,
want to pick my brain on that one? I don't know if I quite
well,
recall what
I
happened in
I
that
know Dan
game.
Quinn didn't end up winning the game, even though he had, I think the biggest lead in Super Bowl history that got blown. I'm
Oh
assuming
yeah,
it was the biggest lead. Yeah, I mean, 28-3. You can't
third
win
quarter,
that
4
one.
minutes left.
You can't win that one. You're never winning one. I'm sorry, but Dan Quinn, great coach, but yeah, we've seen that in the playoffs, he starts to fall off a cliff a little bit. So I'm expecting that to happen again this year for him. I mean, they played good against Tampa Bay last week. I still think Tampa Bay was the better team, but they held the ball last and they got the game-winning field goal. So they got it done. But yeah, I'm taking the Lions in this one. I mean, their offense is just ridiculously stacked. And on top of that, Marshawn Lattimore did not look that great guarding Mike Evans last week. They actually had to take him off of Mike Evans and put the rookie, whose name is escaping me, but put a rookie on Mike Evans so that they could double team him rather than let Marshawn Lattimore guard him one on one, which is also due in fact that Lattimore is coming off of a hamstring injury.
Yeah.
But still, that passing defense for the Commanders doesn't I'm not expecting it to bode very well against the likes of Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams. So I
Yeah.
think the
I
Lions
mean,
offense will have no trouble getting points on the board.
it's hard to just pick against the Lions, to be honest, dude. Like
It is.
it's they look insane offensively and defensively.
They do.
It's a
The
powerhouse.
defense
That
is
whole
beaten
team.
up. That's the thing. They're injured on defense, which I think is going to end up being their downfall this year. But Aaron Glenn has done a phenomenal job at looking at the next man up and keeping their defense competitive despite losing a new guy to injury almost every single week. So kudos to
They
Aaron
have
Glenn
so
and the
many injuries.
Lions. Yeah. And honestly, this might be the Lions' best chance, despite all those defensive injuries. They're most likely losing Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn to head coaching jobs during this offseason. So now you got two brand new coordinators coming in next year. This is the year for the Lions, if you ask me. Now's the time to get it done before you lose these guys and have to kind of start over from scratch and figure out how you're going to get back there. So we'll see if the Lions can get it done. I think they have the best coaching staff in the NFL left, but I don't know. We'll see if they can overcome the injuries on defense because I think that's ultimately going to be their downfall, if you ask me.
I mean, I don't know if it'll even be their downfall, but I guess we'll just have to
I know
we'll
you're
have to
pretty.
wait and
I know
see.
you're pretty big on the Lions. So
I know.
Bruce,
I'm a big
this time, this time not picking the upset, which is understandable. 9.5 point spread. I would pick the favorite in that one as well. As we'll move on here to the Sunday night games, as I try to navigate my ESPN app here to find what time at 3 o'clock
Eagles and Rams play at 3.
in Philly. This this should certainly be an interesting one. Bruce, I'm curious your thoughts here. Are you taking the underdog again in the LA
Um,
Rams?
I don't know.
Just thinking
It's
about it.
yeah, I mean, I just feel like the Eagles are a good team. I just feel like have they looked that great this season? No. Did they look that great against the Packers? Man, like
Yeah.
the Rams looked incredible against the Vikings.
Mm-hmm. That they did.
Um, um, ah,
Bruce is
I
torn.
dude, but it's because it's like 6.5 is crazy for a spread. Like, Eagles are a good team, but the Rams have proved themselves that they should be here. They Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams, Cooper Kupp, Matt Stafford. They've all shown that they deserve to be here and that they can be top teams. And yeah, Sam Darnold, blah blah, whatever. Vikings, maybe it was just a Cinderella, 14-3, whatever.
Yeah.
Is that a big accomplishment? I say it's a decent accomplishment because
it's better than anyone expected.
Yeah. But the Eagles, if the Eagles can get going early, if depending on Hurts's, I don't know if he's like still recovering. I don't know. He didn't look great. Like,
yeah, he had some decent throws, but not all pro level.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I want to take the Rams, and I do want to take the Rams, I do want to. It's like, can all these upsets happen? We're going with the Rams. We're riding with the Rams.
Wow.
I think.
All right.
I think
Third
LA,
upset of the day for Bruce.
They're doing it for the Fires. They're doing it for proof of deserving to be here, and they're running it back.
You know what? As crazy as it sounds, I'm going to have to agree with you. I'm taking the Rams in this one, and it's not just because I'm a Cowboys fan and I despise the Eagles organization and, of course, want them to lose. Don't worry, that plays a factor in it, of course. But I think the Rams, I think they proved last week against Minnesota that, like you said, they're one of the top teams in the NFC despite the slow start. You got to remember, there was a good few weeks where they had no Cooper Kupp, no Puka Nacua, and that offense looked completely different. Now their offense is back at full strength, but I don't think the offense is going to be what leads them to a victory against Philadelphia. I think it all depends on whether or not this defense shows up like they did against the Minnesota Vikings. Now, granted, you're not going to get 9 sacks on Jalen Hurts like you did on Sam Darnold. That's never going to happen. But if you can get pressure there on a guy who's already only played 1 game in the last month and looked decent last week against Green Bay, but certainly gave Green Bay an opportunity to stay in that game by not being able to score more in the first half and capitalize on some of those drives. If this LA defense can get pressure on Jalen Hurts and force him to make plays, then we might see the Rams end up with a big lead. But it all really comes down to, can they stop Saquon Barkley? Jalen Hurts will have a good couple throws, he'll have a couple bad throws, but Saquon Barkley, last time these two teams matched up, Saquon ran for 255 yards and he clipped over 300 yards from scrimmage in a game that the Eagles won 37-10, something like that was the final. I was just reading it earlier. So the Rams know full on that if they want any chance at winning this game, they need to stop Saquon Barkley.
And that's hard.
That is very hard. I mean, he's only the 9th player in NFL history to rush for 2,000 yards. And
he didn't hit it. He didn't hit it in the regular season. He didn't hit it.
Yeah,
not in the regular season.
Yeah, week 18.
He didn't play week 18.
He definitely hit 2,000 yards, though.
No, he didn't hit 2,000 in the regular season.
He didn't break Eric Dickerson's record, but he's got 2,005 yards on the season.
Maybe he did. Maybe that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, now he's got 2,124 between regular season and playoffs. But
okay, then I was just thinking of the record.
Yeah, so he did hit 2,000 yards, almost broke Eric Dickerson's record, which I know Eric Dickerson is happy that he didn't, but besides the point. Like I said, the Rams know that if they want any chance in this one, they've got to stop Saquon Barkley, and they were unable to do that last time. So you already know their game plan going in is strictly stop Saquon Barkley. We'll see.
Yeah, and I mean offensively, well, first off, I'm pretty sure AJ Brown's questionable right now.
Yeah, he's been dealing with some lingering injuries. He was really a non-factor last week against Green Bay. Had the one catch. For, I don't know, 14 yards or something.
10 yards.
Yeah, he was really a non-factor. If the Eagles want to win this game, they got to figure out a way to get the ball in their receivers' hands.
Yeah, and I think offensively, in the sense of the Rams, I think they've been leaning a lot on Puka on these past couple weeks. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, Cooper Cup hasn't been as much of a factor, but like teams are gonna focus on covering Puka.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're
They
gonna
still
forget
have
about Cooper
Cooper
Kupp.
Cup. Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's like, I mean, realistically, they are professional football players. They do know Cooper Cup is a stud, but it's like
Yeah.
they've been just kind of focusing on Puka, and Puka's been getting the ball quite a bit. So it's,
Mhm.
I mean, if it they usually have like one man for the job kind of games where it'll either be Puka or it'll be Cooper Cup, and it's been Puka the past kind of 6 7 weeks, but they still have Cooper Cup.
Yeah. He could explode for a big game out of nowhere.
Yeah, and he has. He's proved that he's still got it.
Mhm. And you can't forget Kyron Williams in the passing game too. He had a receiving touchdown last week against, the Minnesota Vikings. Jeez,
Vikings.
went blank there for a second. But yeah, this Rams team is certainly scary. I mean, going into the playoffs, you knew they were a scary team. One of those teams that just narrowly got in at the very end, but still a scary team nonetheless. So we'll see. Rams, Eagles, 3 o'clock Sunday afternoon.
Oh, I forgot to change this.
There we go. Eagles host the Rams. And that should be a good one. And now, last wild card, or excuse me, divisional round game should be the game of the playoffs, if you ask me. Only a 1 point spread in favor of the Baltimore Ravens on the road, headed to Buffalo. Bruce, where are you taking? Bills, Ravens?
I mean, I say this might be the game of the year. This could top this. I don't know if it will, but this could
I
top.
think it'll be better than the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but this could. Well, I mean, dependently, because if it's this season, Bills played the Lions, and that was kind of the game of the regular season.
Oh, really?
Um, and I think a Bills Lions or a Ravens Lions Super Bowl, I feel like could be insane. But
Mhm.
this could be a more of a must-watch game than the Lions Bills game. Obviously, it's the playoffs,
Absolutely.
but this is two MVP candidates, two front runners for MVP. I mean, I know that I don't know how they're giving Baltimore the advantage in this game.
Yeah,
As
it was
much as
pretty crazy to have them as the favorites.
as much as I can't, I hate to
Well,
say that
Baltimore
the
did kind
Bills
of
are.
steamroll the Bills earlier in the regular season, but that was a long time ago. That was like week
Yeah,
4 that happened.
yeah, that was a really long time ago, and as much as I hate to say it, I think the Bills win. I think the Bills look the better team, um, just have looked the better team these past 5, 6 weeks, and don't get me wrong, Ravens are incredible, but, the Bills are almost in the same category as the Lions, where they just score
Mhm.
and score and score and score,
Yeah,
and yeah, the Ravens do that, 75% of the time.
they got to rely on the run to do that.
Exactly, and they have Derrick Henry, don't get me wrong, Derrick Henry's an animal, but I don't know,
But if
this
you need a
Bills team
quick
is just
score,
different,
yeah, if you need a quick score, you're not running the ball down the field the whole way.
and without Zay, or is Zay
Yeah,
back? No,
that's
Zay's
the other thing. No, he's
questionable, I
he's
think.
still questionable. Yeah, it hasn't been announced just yet. But yeah, the injury to Zay Flowers obviously a brutal blow for this Ravens offense. That's a guy that they would have really needed out here for a Super Bowl run.
Yeah, I mean, he might be back, I think he's questionable.
Yeah, so we'll see. But he's probably not going to be 100% for sure.
Yeah, but I think the Bills at home, at Highmark Stadium, they're
Yep.
unbeaten at
Hmm.
home this season. Bills Mafia is a different breed.
Yeah,
They're
they're going to be
literally the
relentless.
12th man on defense, and I don't know. I think the Bills win,
Yeah,
plain and simple.
it's certainly a tough call. It's a real coin flip game. It's a pick 'em, if you will. For me, the biggest factor is going to be the weather. I mean, the
Yeah,
Ravens and Lamar Jackson, who has already struggled in the playoffs in years past, yeah, they can rely on the running game. Derrick Henry will do fine. Lamar will do fine. But if they find themselves in a situation where they're down, now they got to move the ball through the air in the frigid cold temperatures, and
yeah,
Lamar's already having, he's already struggled in years past throwing the ball in the playoffs. I don't know if I see them putting up the 28, 30 something points that we're used to seeing out of the Ravens. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a lower scoring matchup due to the, weather impact. So I guess we'll have to
We'll
see.
see.
I think I'm gonna take the Bills in this one, but I also wouldn't be surprised if the Ravens find a way to get the job done because they did run for almost 300 yards against the Steelers last week. So if they can replicate that rushing success against the Bills, they don't need to throw the ball super well in the cold temperatures if they can run the ball for almost 300 yards. And we saw last week, I believe Derrick Henry had, or not last week, but we saw earlier in the season, Derrick Henry had, I think, 180 something yards in that regular season matchup, including a 70 something yard touchdown on the first play from scrimmage for the Ravens offense. So if they have anywhere close to that kind of success from Derrick Henry running the ball, they're going to be in a pretty good spot. But when the ball is in the air and we get down to the nitty gritty 2 minute drive, go and get a score, that's where I give the edge to the Bills and Josh Allen. So I'm going to take the Bills in this one, but like I said, don't be surprised if the Ravens just run all over them and find a way to get the job done.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 9 degrees with 50% chance of snow,
There you go.
and winds of 15 to 15-ish miles an hour. But
Yeah,
it doesn't
throwing
say
in
there's
that
supposed to be a lot of snow. It doesn't say
Okay.
there's supposed to be a lot of snow. I don't
Well,
know.
might
This is
not might
also
not be
it's
snow,
2
but
days
even
away.
just in the cold, trying to catch that thing in the cold,
Yeah.
man, or even trying to throw it, if 15-mile-an-hour winds throwing in it's going to be rough. And at least the Bills are used to this. They've played in these elements plenty of times before. They know what to expect. So
Yeah.
we'll see. We're both taking Bills here, and that'll do it for the divisional round preview.
It's
As
gonna be
Bruce has a
fun.
few upsets,
It's
Bruce
gonna be
certainly has a
fun.
few upsets. It's going to be a lot of fun. And excuse me as I get the hiccups at the worst possible time. We'll be back on Tuesday to recap it all and let you know how our picks went and give you the rundown of how all those games went. But Bruce, before we wrap up the show here, I understand there's a couple other headlines that we didn't get to around the world of sports, starting with, and I'll let you take the lead on this because as we know, this is your area of expertise. But I believe what was his name?
Erling
Holland,
Haaland.
or what was it?
Erling Haaland.
Erling Haaland signs a record 9.5 year contract with Man City.
Yeah,
The
10-year deal.
Norwegian striker?
Yeah, yeah. Norwegian striker for City. Um,
What's your big takeaways from the contract?
I mean, like, I get it. I mean, he's been on the best team in the world for the past couple seasons. City's just been dominant, but I don't know, dude. Like they sit on Holland like he's the one of the best strikers in the world, and I just don't think he is. It's
You don't think he deserves that record-breaking
no,
deal?
no. Like he, I don't know. He's like obviously he could break Alan Shearer's record for most goals. He's got this new record where he's the longest contract since Cole Palmer last season. Like he's gonna be old by the time he leaves. 2034 is a while away.
Yeah,
But
and he was already signed to 2027, yeah, and they just extended
yeah,
it.
yeah, they extended it. So he's staying at the Etihad until he turns 34, which is crazy. He's young. It's just he's not like like a lot of people would hate on me for saying this, but he's not all that. He's not
Hmm.
that good. He's
Yeah.
he's a League Two striker on a Premier League best team in the world. Rodri's been out, De Bruyne has been off, and guess what? He hasn't been scoring. Ooh, yeah, he breaks all these records. He the fastest to 50 goals, fastest whatever, blah blah blah. Yada yada, longest contract. Don't care. It. He is not a Premier League striker. There's so many players in the world that are better than him, and it's just proved. Their fall off this season. First off, I love it. Their fall off this season has been incredible. They're sitting sixth in the Prem right now. Holland hasn't done squat because they're without key players in their team. And oh my god, he doesn't look that good anymore because he's not the star everyone thinks he is.
There you
But,
have it from
hey,
our
cool.
soccer aficionado.
Yeah, Arsenal for life, baby. But anyway, I mean, yeah, it's cool. It's a record-breaking contract. It's like Guardiola likes it. Cool. Pep, you're one of the best managers in the world. I'll give that to you. If not the best manager in history. But when he's comparing him to Messi and Ronaldo, and that's no.
You know,
Like he scored a lot, but he's not good.
yeah. Saying obviously, Mr. Bruce Juno does not agree with the degree of contract length for Mr. Erling Haaland, which understand like 9.5 years, a record breaking deal. You better be one of the best in the business if you're going to get something of that stature. Like you look at baseball and the record breaking contracts that Shohei Ohtani and Juan Soto have signed in the last 2 years. You better produce after getting a contract like that. So I guess we'll see. We'll see if Haaland can step up to the plate and make the contract worthwhile. But one last little bit of
he scores, but it's like it's not him. It's not him doing the work.
Yeah, he's a good team merchant, if you will.
Yes, he scores tap-ins and headers.
Garbage time player. Yeah. But we'll move on from this bit of soccer news, and before we wrap things up, Alex Ovechkin still on the chase of Wayne Gretzky, but he gets a little bit closer. What is he now? 20 goals away with the overtime score the other night.
Yeah, he's at 874 right now. Yeah, he's 20.
Around 20 away, we'll say.
20.
And of course, broke the record, as you have written up there. He scored on his 179th goalie in his career, breaking the all-time NHL record.
Jaromir Jagr, he passed him. He passed Jagger's record, which is sweet. That's cool. Like that's actually like a cool thing. And I was watching that game and I saw it and I was like, that's pretty sick. That because I hope Ovi I mean Wayne Gretzky just animal, but I hope Ovi gets it. Like Frankie told us last. I think Ovi deserves it.
Yeah, like of course Wayne Gretzky is still the unanimous go. No one's gonna ever touch him in his career points record or anything like that. But
yeah,
Ovechkin getting the record for most goals in a career would certainly be really awesome to see, add to his resume a little bit. And of course, everyone's going to still respect the great Wayne Gretzky, but as sports go on and new seasons come, records are made to be broken. And of course, obviously Wayne Gretzky's career points record is one that will probably never be touched, considering you can take away all of his goals and he still leads just based off his career assist numbers. But
yeah,
a record that's actually achievable, like his career goal record, is one that's pretty cool to see on the verge of being broken. And we'll be following along as Ovi tries to eclipse that record and, like I said, add to his resume. So pretty cool stuff there coming out of the NHL. And well, that, Bruce, will pretty much wrap things up here on the Regular Fan Show on this Friday morning. You know what time it is, don't you?
Yep,
I hope you've been in the lab. I hope you've been practicing.
It's time for me to miss probably the easiest shot in basketball history.
It's for the Bruce Juno free throw segment. Right here, Bruce. Still 0 for what? 0 for 4 as we've tried to do these.
0 for way too many.
Yeah, this is episode number 5. So here we go, Bruce. Clock winding down. Sizing up 3, 2, 1. That looked like it went in from my angle. That looks pretty good. I need confirmation. It was either an air ball or it was a switch. It looks like it switched, and it looks like Bruce finally got the job done.
I drained that puppy.
All right, so you know what's next. Now I got to start trying to drain one in the little. Where is it? Let me
Yeah,
size up in the little tiny. You see that little smidge right there
shoot it,
next
shoot or
to the
go.
big. I don't know where the ball is. The dog was playing with it the other day, and now it just disappeared. So I got to find it.
Fair
She
enough.
actually came in here after I tried shooting it when we went off off the air last week. I tried shooting it. She found it in the corner and took it away. So
Oh,
now it's
unfortunate.
buried with all of her toys. So we'll see. Well, I'll try and find it by Tuesday, which is when we will be back live again for the regular fan show. Thank you everybody for tuning in. If you're on YouTube, hit that like button, hit subscribe, Twitch, hit the follow. Bruce, you know what to tell him.
Ding the bell, baby.
Ding the bell. We'll be back Tuesday morning, 11 a.m. for more of the regular fan show. Take care, everybody.
See you
Go
next
ahead, say
time.
goodbye. Say goodbye. Bye bye.